Why letting go is so hard, and how Buddhism understands it. Why the mind won't let go. There's a feeling I think we all know too well. You're lying in bed at night. The world around you is quiet, but your mind isn't. It brings back something small from earlier in the day. A moment. A conversation. That one awkward thing you said. Logically, you know it's over. It's done. No one else is thinking about it. You tell yourself, just let it go. But your mind doesn't listen. It grabs on and spins, over and over, replaying, rewriting, regretting, like it's squeezing out every drop of discomfort it can find. Why does it do that? Why is it so hard to let go, especially of the very things that hurt us? To begin answering that, we have to understand something simple but profound. Your brain is not built for peace. It's built for survival. Over millions of years, the human brain evolved with one purpose: keep the body alive. And in that world, the world of wild animals, hunger, and danger, clinging wasn't a weakness. It was wisdom. If you found shelter, you stayed. If you found food, you guarded it. If you found people who protected you, you clung to them like your life depended on it. Because it did. In that world, letting go could mean letting go of life itself. That survival instinct worked beautifully back then. But here's the problem. The world changed, and the brain didn't. We're still running ancient survival software, just on modern lives. And that mismatch is at the heart of so much of our suffering. Today, we're not clinging to caves or firewood. We're clinging to text messages, performance reviews, Instagram likes, someone's silence, or a passing insult. Your boss sends a short, critical email, and your brain doesn't see an email. It sees a threat to your status, your belonging, your safety. It reacts the same way it did to a predator in the forest. Cling, worry, prepare. This is how a survival instinct becomes a source of daily anxiety. We're using an emergency alarm for situations that aren't emergencies. It's like using a fire hose to water a flower. And this grasping, it's not just physical. It's mental, emotional, deep. It reaches into every corner of our experience, tightening around the pleasant and the painful alike. Buddhism has a name for this: tanha. Often translated as craving or thirst, tanha is more than desire. It's that endless restlessness inside. The part of us that's always reaching, always needing something just slightly out of reach. A new feeling, a better moment, a different outcome. The Buddha described it in a vivid image from the Dhammapada. The craving of one who lives heedlessly grows like a creeping vine, like a monkey in the forest, leaping from one fruit to the next. One clings from life to life. Take a moment with that. A vine, slow, subtle, but suffocating. A monkey, never still, always searching. That's the mind under the spell of craving. So, we're hardwired to hold on. That's the setup. But what are the inner mechanisms, the hidden patterns, that keep us locked in this cycle? That's where we're headed next. How the mind turns pain into suffering. Our instinct to cling didn't vanish with the cavemen. It simply changed form. Today, it hides behind familiar patterns of thought, subtle habits in the mind that feel completely normal, but quietly keep us trapped. One of the most powerful of these is something psychology calls loss aversion. The idea is simple. Losing something hurts more than gaining something feels good. You find $20 on the street. Nice surprise. You lose $20. It ruins your whole day. The loss stings deeper than the gain soothes. Now, imagine how this plays out when we're asked to let go. Even when we're letting go of something clearly painful, like a toxic job or a draining relationship, the brain doesn't see relief. It sees loss. Loss of familiarity. Loss of a role. Loss of something that, for better or worse, was part of you. And your mind is hardwired to avoid that kind of loss at all costs. But the grip goes even deeper. Each of us carries around a personal story, an internal script about who we are. Maybe it's, I'm the one who overcame hardship, or I'm the dependable one, or even, I'm the one who always gets hurt. These stories aren't just memories, they're identities. And when life asks us to let go of part of that story, a long-held struggle, a success we've built our worth around, even a familiar kind of pain, it can feel like erasing a chapter from our own book. The mind whispers, if I let go of that, who am I now? Letting go starts to feel like self-erasure, and the fear of losing our identity becomes more frightening than the pain we're holding on to. Strangely, we're not the first to notice this inner conflict. The ancient Stoic philosophers saw the same thing. Epictetus taught that it's not events that disturb us, it's our judgment about them. Someone criticizes your work. That's the event. Your mind adds, this proves I'm not good enough. That extra layer, that interpretation, is what really hurts. And that interpretation is a form of clinging. In Buddhism, we call it craving. In Stoicism, it's called false judgment. But both point to the same truth. The real storm isn't outside, it's inside. So how do you know when you're caught in it? Emotionally, you might feel a subtle tightness in the chest, a constant hum of anxiety. That pit in your stomach when someone brings up a certain name, or the way your mind won't stop replaying the same argument, even years later. Behaviorally, you might hear yourself telling the same story again and again. You scroll through their social media, even though you know it will hurt. You find yourself trying to control everything, not because you're strong, but because you're scared. And here's where the Buddha offered a brilliant metaphor, one that cuts straight to the heart. When an ordinary person is struck by a painful feeling, they feel two kinds of pain, the Buddha said. The first is the pain itself. The second is the suffering they create around it. He called it the second arrow. The first arrow is life. Someone breaks your trust, an illness comes, a loss happens. That pain is real, and often unavoidable. The second arrow, that's the one we fire ourselves. Why me? This is unfair. I always mess things up. It's the story, the judgment, the mental spiral. And that second arrow often hurts far more and lasts far longer than the first. The Buddha's insight is both compassionate and clear. Pain is part of being human. But suffering, that's optional. And yet, so many of us walk around, day after day, with self-inflicted arrows still lodged in the heart. Some so old we've forgotten we put them there. We've seen the mechanisms. We've felt the signs. The real question now is the most human one of all. How do you stop? How do you actually put down the bow and stop shooting? The wisdom of not clenching. So how do you stop shooting that second arrow? How do you actually put down the bow? Our first instinct is often to use force. We try to wrestle with our own minds. Just forget about it, we tell ourselves. Stop thinking about it. Be stronger. But this is like trying to punch your own shadow. The more you swing, the more it dances. It's exhausting, and it never works. The Buddhist approach is radically different. It doesn't try to overpower the mind. It doesn't try to suppress thoughts or erase the past. It shifts the whole strategy. The problem isn't the object you're clinging to. The problem is the clinging itself. You don't need to destroy the memory of your ex. You don't need to pretend that a failure never happened. You only need to release the painful way your mind is gripping it. And the best way to understand this is with a simple image. Imagine you're holding a piece of burning charcoal in the palm of your hand. What do? Do you need to analyze the coal? Figure out what kind of wood it came from? Do you need to coach yourself with affirmations? I am strong, I can let go. No. None of that is needed. There's only one thing that truly matters. You must feel the burn. The moment you fully, directly experience the searing pain in your hand, something happens on its own. You drop it. You don't need discipline. You don't need motivation. You just need awareness. Now apply this to your inner life. That hot coal is the insult, the betrayal, the fear, the craving, whatever you're holding on to. And the burning sensation, that's the tightness in your chest, the knot in your stomach, the angry voice looping in your head. That's the second arrow. Instead of fighting the memory, the practice is to gently turn your attention inward and feel the pain of grasping. Not to judge it, not to run away from it, just to know it. This kind of wisdom-based, effortless response isn't unique to Buddhism. It resonates with the Taoist concept of Wu Wei, action without force. Wu Wei doesn't mean laziness or passivity. It means flowing with the natural pattern of things, like water around a stone. Dropping the coal the moment you feel its heat is a perfect expression of Wu Wei. It arises from clear seeing, not from willpower. So how do you practice this clear seeing? The Buddha gave a deceptively simple instruction in the Satipatthana Sutta. When a mind with aversion is present, one knows there is aversion. That's it. One knows. It doesn't say, and then one fixes it, or one replaces it with positivity. It simply says, know it. When that familiar anger or fear rises, you pause and observe. Ah, here's that burning again. Here's the tightness. You're not the flame. You're the one aware of it. You're not the pain. You're the one who sees the pain. This is mindfulness. This is the path of liberation. And yet, as soon as you start getting better at it, when you drop a few coals, when the mind begins to loosen, something very subtle sneaks in. A new trap appears, one that is harder to see than all the others. The practitioner's trap, letting go versus giving up. So, you begin to practice this. You learn to watch the mind holding the hot coal. You see the pain, and instead of clenching tighter, you start to open your grip. Slowly, gently, a little air enters. You feel something shift. a breath of freedom, a softness in the chest, and then, almost without noticing, it happens. A new thought arises, not loud, not aggressive, but seductive. I'm doing it. I'm the kind of person who lets go. I'm not like those others who are still stuck. And just like that, the ego returns. But now it's dressed in robes. This is the most elegant trap on the path, the spiritual self-image. You've let go of pain, but now you cling to your image as one who has let go. You are no longer saying, I suffer, but now, I am the one who no longer suffers. It feels noble, elevated, but it's still I. You've dropped one hot coal only to pick up another, this one polished and golden, called my spiritual progress. This is not true freedom. It's a golden chain instead of an iron one, but it binds all the same. That's why the Buddha warned against even clinging to the path itself. He told a parable of a man needing to cross a great river. So the man builds a raft, painstakingly, and it carries him across. Safe on the other shore, he turns to the raft and says, "This helped me. I will now carry it on my back for the rest of my life." But the Buddha asks, is that wise? Of course not. The raft was for crossing, not for carrying. He said clearly, the Dhamma is like a raft, meant to help you cross over, not to cling to. Even wisdom must be released. Even letting go must be let go of. That's the subtlety of the path. Real letting go is not a performance. It's not resignation. It's not withdrawal from life. And it's certainly not a badge of honor. Sometimes people confuse apathy with equanimity, but they're nothing alike. Apathy says, I'm too tired to care. It's a closing down, a shrinking, a collapse of energy. It hides behind indifference. Equanimity, on the other hand, is wide open. It's the strength to care deeply without clinging to outcomes. It's like a sky so vast that storms may come and go, but nothing leaves a scar. True letting go is not a retreat. It's the deepest form of engagement, with no need to control. This is not a single moment of insight. It's a path. Like peeling an onion, each layer of clinging gives way to a deeper subtlety. First, the coarse attachments: desire, fear, identity. Then, the subtler ones: spiritual pride, certainty, even the desire to be free. You will stumble. You will forget. And that's okay. The path is not about perfection. It's about remembering again, softening again, letting go again. And finally, when you can even leave the raft behind, when there is nothing left to hold, not even the idea of holding or releasing, what's on the other side? Not a void, not a blankness, but a silence so alive it needs no name. A presence so vast it contains all things and clings to none. What remains when you let go? So we come to the final, and perhaps the most important question. If we truly let go, if we release our stories, our attachments, even the raft of our beliefs, what's left? Do we become blank and empty? Does freedom mean becoming numb, detached, a stone that feels nothing? It's a fear many people carry, and it's based on a deep misunderstanding. Some modern philosophies, like existentialism, describe the human condition as facing an empty, silent universe, a place with no built-in meaning where we are left alone with radical freedom. This picture can feel cold, even terrifying. But the emptiness spoken of in Buddhism is something completely different. The word is sunyata, and it doesn't mean a void where nothing matters. It means that things are empty of fixed identity, empty of ego, empty of suffering. Empty, not like a hole, but like a sky. Imagine your mind as a room. Most of the time, that room is filled with heavy furniture, old memories, future worries, tight opinions, unspoken fears. You can't breathe. You can't move. Letting go doesn't mean destroying the room. It means opening the windows. It means clearing the space so light and air can enter. Joy can come. Sadness can come. But nothing gets stuck. Emotions arise, but they don't take over. The room stays free. This kind of emptiness is not cold. It's warm. It's the space in which real love can grow. Think about your hands. When they are clenched, grasping, protecting, holding on, they can't give, and they can't receive. But when your hands are open, they can hold gently. They can reach out. They can offer comfort, not out of need, but out of freedom. This is the meaning of metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion. You begin to feel the pain of others, not less, but more clearly. And yet, you don't drown in it. You're not overwhelmed, because you are grounded in something deeper, peace that doesn't depend on anything. So how do we actually live this way? Not through belief, not through wishing, but through a gradual training. The Buddhist path is not just an idea, it's a method, and it unfolds in 3 simple, profound steps. Live cleanly, train the mind, see clearly. First, live cleanly. This is the ground of ethics. If your life is filled with conflict, dishonesty, or harm, your mind cannot settle. So you begin by not hurting others, by speaking truthfully, by living with integrity. This creates the conditions for peace. Second, train the mind. This is meditation. You learn to sit, to breathe, to stay. You learn to watch the mind without reacting. You begin to see your own patterns, your clinging, your fear, your judgment. And little by little, you soften. The mind becomes steady, spacious. And finally, see clearly. When the mind is calm and bright, it becomes a mirror. You begin to see that all things change, that there is no fixed self behind your thoughts, that everything you once clung to is like smoke. This seeing is not just intellectual, it's transformative. It uproots suffering at the root. So, why is letting go the hardest thing? Because it asks us to give up not just what we love, but the very idea of me that loves it. It asks us to go against our oldest reflexes, the grasping of a mind afraid to die. And yet, this same path, when walked with patience and care, opens a door not to nothingness, but to deep, unshakable freedom. And the good news: you don't have to finish the path before it begins to help you. You can begin right now, simply by noticing. Right now, are you holding something tight in your mind? Are you gripping a thought, a fear, a need? Just noticing that, that's the first letting go. That's the beginning of freedom.